My name is Raquel Kogan, and we are splitting the talk here. I'm showing a little bit of my work, and then Rejane is going to show her work with Leonardo Crescenti, and then we are showing water. That is our project here in KIKK, and I want to thank KIKK also for the invitation and all the production. We thought talking about reflections, and I will show some works of mine. This is my first work in 2001. We won a prize, Transmedia, from Itaú Cultural. Then I met Rejane at this point, and at that time it was a difficult work to build up. Now, when you look historical point of view, is very naive what we are doing. All the people, all the artists are doing. But it was an important point for me because it was my first digital work. It was a very simple interface that you increase the movements of the numbers, how quickly or how slow they get to up and down in this projection, and the reflection was water. The next project was 2005. This is a teaser. I changed the projection on the floor and the reflection on two mirrors. And the interactive point was when the people came inside the room, and they could see them infinitely on this large corridor. And then I will show. It's an old project that took place in São Paulo in an abandoned hotel in the same date that we have a huge biennale in São Paulo that's now going on also. And with the artists, we were 20 artists, and we could use whatever we wanted in this abandoned hotel in the center of São Paulo. I transformed the room, my piece of art. It was like a Kafkanian thought that the door was always closed. You were always inside, but the door was closed. I substituted the door that was in wood to a glass door, and when you came in front of the door, it was a sensor. The light inside of the room was on, and you could see all the room inside, and you could see yourself in a small television in real time inside the room, like a ghost inside. Here is the corridor, here is the room, and here is the vision of... I have a very bad video because it's an old one, but you can understand how it works. You came inside the hotel, the reception. It was a work already there of another artist. You took the key of mine work downstairs. You took the elevator, went to the fourth floor. And went to the room 401. That's a old video, but I think you can understand better. And then when you stand in front of the door, you could see inside. And this was the reflection of the TV on a wall that I mirrored the wall. And the funny thing that you were standing behind the door and you couldn't see yourself. That was very interesting. This is a project that I made with another artist, Lea Vanstein, in São Paulo. There are two implementation here. One is in São Paulo, in Avenida Paulista. This woman running is our virtual image. The building is a real one in São Paulo. And I was in the other side of the street in another building, that's Sesc Paulista, is another institution in São Paulo. This is the windows of the institution. We use it like interface to reflect the image. And the effect was people running from one building to another one. This was the film shooting in a very long studio. And there you see people cleaning the other building in front and our image here. And you have the interactive of real the virtual and the real people inside. We made points of light to the people, see that it's not magical. This is real people, and there is our video. This is real people walking. This is Leia showing that is only reflection, the effect. This was like a bridge over the two buildings. Over the street, like we were in the 9th floor. I will stop a little bit here, if I can. Oh, sorry. We have the projector, our back projection, it was a screen, and the reflection were here on the windows of the building. And when you were inside, because we shoot in a very long studio, you had the impression that they were crossing the street over the air. And the next is a complete different space that is like a phantasmagoric effect, because it wasn't over the air, but the people were crossing the floor. It was in Buenos Aires. And the sound, this sound that you are hearing, has not the same length that the shooting. And it always was in another place. The guy snoozing or the noise of birds, and then change a lot of. This is our video, like walking on the bibliothèque of the space. This is a real elevator. This is the woman looking at our work. The interface was a glass we put in between the elevator, the space of the elevator, and our shooting. That guy in red is our image. This is also our image. This is a woman looking what you are looking here. Inside, you have to be inside the space to look at the work. This what you could see from outside, only a video, without the reflection, because we need the interface that was the glass. Here's another construction, because this work is a construction of space. He needs some difficult things to work. Be dark, the space, not having much light, and the back projection and the interface always being a glass to have the reflection. This is from outside the work. This is a work that I made 2016 with Leia also. It's only a glass. And it's a beautiful museum in São Paulo, made from the architect Paulo Mendes da Rocha. He's a great architect. And as you see, you can't see the work because it's a transparent glass. And when you move the glass with the light, you move all the image that are reflecting on it. Okay, then I wanted to show this piece that's not reflecting, but is reflecting on, because all my works, it depends on the moment that you are interacting or the people besides you are interacting. And this moment, the look of, that you look at the work and the work look at you, for me is very unique and make the piece different all the time. And then I decide to make this work that you catch the look and made it the piece of art. And this is in Creators Project in São Paulo, and it was a huge projection, and the look was big when we were looking at, and then he was going to substitute all the looks you had. And I made this work very quickly for this exhibition, and I couldn't finish the way I wanted. And then 2 years ago, 2 years after this one, that is 2012, I could realize the way I wanted, that when you look, you have the number of the look written and all and said also. And you knew that you are the first or the second or the third one that was being part of the work. The interface was very simple. They took photos of your eyes and made a small video of it. And this is only showing the second implementation that has already the number and the voice. Important. 2467. The nice thing is that when the people discover how it works, they don't only put the eyes on it, but everything. That's it. Is a little bit of my works, and then Rejane is going to show.
Hi. Let me see where I am.
Baixo. Não é melhor ter óculos, né?
Tá aqui. I have to put on my glasses and I'm gonna, like we said, it's a 3. You are watching one conference and getting 3. That's what we have to offer you. So Leonardo and I, we started dating because of Raquel. She introduced us, and Leonardo came from cinema. I was doing computer interfaces, and he proposed me to work together. And we knew that what we had in common was cinema. We had experimentation in cinema in common. So the first work we did, we tried to build a, let me put down a little bit the sound, not that much. We tried to build first something holographic. We could not, but playing with the mirrors, we kind of discovered this project. The project talked to us. It's named Infinite Cubed. It's a machine, medieval one, we thought, because you work with springs, you work with mirrors, and all the material you had in the 15th century. But in this case, you get into the cube. And the cube is attached. You will see the walls, they do not attach to each other, so there is a line in between. This line allows that the light from the outside goes inside, and that draws like wire frames inside of the mirror cube. In fact, we showed that at Pinacoteca do Estado de São Paulo, which is a very traditional museum. With our background, we wouldn't be there ever. But when the curator saw that was a mirrored cube, he thought it was going to look good at the architecture of the building. And then we had the surprise of the inside. This is the second project we did together. It's called Floor. The whole idea is that when I step, I produce a wave, and that wave is touching you all. But we don't have the perception. Our body is not designed to perceive such a fine information. With that, we just isolate one of those waves and make everybody move. This is a very pop project. It's amazing. We showed it at Ars Electronica Berlin as well. And Ars Electronica Berlin had a singer there at the moment. And you will see what happens. This is myself and Leo playing in the gallery, very controlled space. We control the lights, and you can see behind that is like the cinema, experimental cinema thinking, because we play with the lights all the time. But this is what we got, and I wish I had the sound. This woman, she's an opera singer, and she was telling the people, when the wave goes through, please, and we never thought they will lay down on the floor like that, one on the top of the other. In Germany, that was funny, and so all the works, they have that appealing, and we never know what people will do with that. You know that we have here the priest running over our piece, but we are going to talk about it later. This is another piece. You know, we're always working with very big and almost architectural pieces. We thought it's difficult to travel, it's difficult to show in other places, so we thought we had to make something small. And we thought about doing a mirror, because the mirror contains the whole environment, so we get big when we get there, right? And the second thing is that that mirror would function in a way that when I get into the room, I make the room bigger, right? If you have that, we have that feeling. And if I leave the room, I make it, again, smaller. So that's what happens here. If you approach the mirror, it goes convex. When you leave it, it goes, and then you produce the feeling of making it bigger, leaving it and letting it smaller. It was like, we always have the idea and then try to develop the technology behind. So everything is made, even screws. We do everything. I mean, if that is, great. We go and buy it because it's better, it's already proven. If that is not, we gotta make it. This is another project. It's one project that I love the most, in fact. It was shown in Brazil twice, Brazil and Ars Electronica Mexico. And it's called solar. The whole idea is that the planet is there, the sun is here, I am in the middle, and I'm controlling the relation between two of them. If I go north, I have this. So the machine sets, when I set this installation, it works like a clock. So we set it according to coordinates, right? North, south, left, east, and now the parameters. And the sun goes like, if it's up, it's really hot, the light, and if it's down, it's dimmerized. So it's like, you know, it's a simulation of being this in-between communication, in-between situation where the sun is facing the earth. And you decide where you go. Funny enough, everybody that enters the machine goes for a place where the person was born. So when we went to Mexico, people like, I was born in USA, so they set the machine to start and go to there. This machine also could be controlled by voice. If nobody's in the machine, because you, once you are stepping on the platform, you're controlling the position and the time you are in this relationship between Earth and Sun. But if nobody's controlling the machine, if you are out of it, you can control it by voice. And then we have it going faster. You will see. Here are the Johannesburg. So I'm talking Johannesburg, and then the whole thing goes to Johannesburg faster. Because you know, it's like a huge thing moving, and you need time to understand all the relationships that are going on. So it's like a very slow thing. But when you are out, no, you can control it faster. And the person in the machine becomes the needle of a solar clock. That's one thing also. We like that idea of where we think we are controlling everything, but not. We are also part of the system, which is one thing that we really thought was nice to think about. Of course, also there is a tactile information coming through because the light, the sun is touching you, right? So that was also a very pop project. It's called Tunnel. We went to several places. It's a tunnel of 6 meters, and it's all connected. It's all mechanics. And we got a mention from Ars Electronica with this piece, even though it's mechanics, because the whole thinking behind is not mechanics, cutting out this, making all the calculations. Leo said he never calculated so much in his whole life. So the whole idea is that when you walk through that environment, you move it, right? And you make sound. This is funny because I remember when we had it tested, the man told us, oh, it's too noisy, but that's okay. Another thing, I don't know if you noticed, in relation to that idea of experimenting with new forms of cinema, the phantom that is generated when somebody is inside of the tunnel, you leave a trace. And this is like somebody else that is there. I don't know if you remember, there were press-cinematic dispositives. There are a few things that with little black stripes, it works more or less like that. That was a surprise. We didn't know that was going to happen. This is another project. This is a floor, a sensitive floor. The whole idea was to work with gravity. Now, if I go like that, I make a wave, a radial wave. And it becomes a system for communicating, for how heavy you are, how fast you go, how tranquil or speedy you are in the situation. And of course, This is another project. Can I put the sound a little bit higher now? Maybe? Okay, cool.
É como um músico, imagina uma música, quando ele escreve, toca a música, de repente não é o que ele imaginou, ou é melhor até.
I'll let Leo
Então,
talk.
quando a gente vê um trabalho, esse trabalho novo acontecendo, ele começa a ensinar pra gente quem ele é, ele está se apresentando. Então, o conceito foi fazer com que 6 refletores atravessem a obra, iluminem o lado oposto e deixem um lado na penumbra. Esse lado que está na penumbra, ele vai ser iluminado apenas quando as aletas estiverem refletindo essa luz. Por isso, aquela mancha de luz fica correndo pelo espaço que está na penumbra.
Ela tem 4 dimensões. Uma dimensão que é quase da pintura, ela pode ser vista como a superfície do espelho. Tem a história da tridimensionalidade da peça, de como ela se apresenta, de como que ela se corporifica no espaço da sala. Além disso, tem a história do movimento e como que ela se transforma e transforma a arquitetura.
I'm gonna go. It's all on the website.
Quando ela está montada, a gente começa a ver como ela reage e qual que é o nosso ponto de interesse. A gente vai começar a descobrir algumas coisas além do que foi imaginado. Então, obviamente, nesse trabalho a gente teve algumas boas surpresas. Como são várias aletas, o reflexo de uma pessoa andando ali, ele se multiplica, ele faz um rastro. Como se fosse um delay, quase um vídeo feedback às vezes, né? Um rastro, um cambré, que se diz em balé, né? Que fala um movimento contínuo, decupado, decalado. E o que a gente vê é que as pessoas adoram se fotografar, serem fotografadas, fotografam através, fotografam no reflexo, ver distorções. Então fica uma mistura de sensações ópticas que cria uma certa confusão que é muito interessante. Quando a gente vê como as pessoas reagem e interagem, a gente também vai aprendendo o que está funcionando e o que não está funcionando. E explicar o trabalho é como dar aula. Quando você explica alguma coisa, você tem uma outra compreensão daquilo que você está explicando. E você vai aprendendo novamente com as pessoas. Então, cada trabalho, cada implementação é um aprendizado, é um passo além. Não é que o trabalho construído, implementado, acabou. Não, aí que ele começa a nascer.
Well, it's all on the website. Now, it's a project that we're Can you put the sound again? Because
the conception is to change the perception of you and of the space together. And what's funny is to notice that when you step here, you start to smile.
our works, they have that kind of feeling. People get happy on it, sometimes too much. But anyway, we are happy with that. And here was Ruhr Triennale. They invited us to go and visit the place. It's a dream idea for an artist. You are invited to design for the space. We never have it. It's rare. And so when we got there, we had this full. It was like the oven. It was so gigantic, and we thought we have to build something that relates the body, the human body, to the space. And we did a floor that moves again. But in this case, it's like a river. It's 70 meters long, and you step on it. One single step moves the whole thing. It was not easy to build such a thing. We use a lot of springs. We use a lot of technology, even taped technology, to reach the desired effect. But what's funny, because another thing I want to talk here is that having exhibition on the street, like you have here, is not easy. The producers know that. You have to count on many things, including openings. How do we open a piece like that? I remember in this case, we have to open it 3 times. And the 3rd time, which was the very chic time, what happens was like a storm, tropical storm in Germany. So we were afraid. We didn't know if people would walk, sleep on the whatever. We thought everybody was paralyzed, and we said, oh, something really bad happened. But one woman came to me and said, I heard on the radio, I traveled 3 hours, I'll go on it. I said, okay, so let's go on it. And surprisingly enough, people will start like that, and then suddenly they were like out jumping. Even we start with the kids, right? Always, kids goes first. They are easier. No, even here in our work, we notice kids' interaction is totally wild and free from ideas like, oh no, I'm not going to fall. But there, suddenly everybody was falling. Was jumping, sorry. Nobody felt, nobody. So the piece is 100% safe. But we only thought about it there. We didn't think about it before. And people can be very, like this guy now, you will see, they were performers. They were participating also at the Triennale. And they just did a performance on the piece, like this. And it resisted. Everybody from the production team were looking at us and said, oh my God, what are we going to do? But it works fine. And that's it, once you start shaking. Because everything we do in life is producing waves. I am producing waves now that are touching your ears. And I am producing light waves that you see in me. So our works, they are like pieces of communication. They produce waves. And in fact, what they do, they exponent the waves we already do. That's the last work we did in São Paulo. It was also a nice invitation. You have a floor in a building, a very historical building in São Paulo. And then when we got there, the idea was how is the paper of what's the play of the interactor inside of installation? We saw these windows. It's a tower, the biggest, the first big tower in São Paulo. And it was made with small windows. And we thought a tower, because it was a bank, a tower with small windows, let's open the window and let the guy fly. So the name of the process is Tube. It's a 13 meters long tube, mirrored. And what we did, we filmed the outside, the view from the window, and that's what you have on the back. It's a 4 minutes film made during 5 days captation, and it has everything. It has sun, night, everything. Here in this video, we don't have everything. We only have the daylight, gray. São Paulo was gray that day. Now we are going to go to the last part of this presentation, and it's related to the work we are presenting here. And it's funny because that was the only work Leo and I made with a friend, a dear friend, because it was Raquel who introduced me to Leo. Remember I said we started dating many years ago, and so she's responsible for everything. And Agua.
We had an invitation. The theme was water. We have the space, and we didn't have the work. And then the work is inside this beautiful building of Niemeyer, architect, famous architect of Brazil. And the choice was, we are fighting with the space, or we are introducing the space in our work. And that was the choice. And it was the huge piece of water that we made of all the implementation. Here we are showing all of them. And it goes up to the third floor because it's very huge, this building. And it was 18 meters by 7.
Yeah, it's almost a football.
And the project was to have this screen that was ochre and move all the architecture with the movement of the people inside.
So, and you liquidify the architecture when you step on it again. This is a very subtle project. You are lucky because you can see it at the cathedral if you didn't see yet. We brought a little piece for the Cathedral of Saint Aubin. And we were amazed when we did the piece because of the interaction. Again, people thought they were at the beach, totally. Even the kids, they would go like, and stop on the edge without going in it. So the illusion is there. You will see the video, how people were interacting.
He was swimming. This work was almost a research of materials to have the effect that we wanted.
And it's funny because, of course, we had to rebuild it 3 times for this exhibition. The exhibition was almost 6 months period.
Yeah.
And people are getting crazy, so I start asking the people, please take out your shoes and things like that, because people go really wild.
This is in Eindhoven. That is a complete different
Setting,
is the
Glow Festival.
and was the impression that you had inside the work that you were in a submarine.
Those are the old factors of...
Here in São Paulo, a very old building. The impression here was there is in a swimming pool at the Roman time, because you could sit on the floor beside, and everything was in marble, different colors of marble.
And this is the forum of the city of São Paulo. You will see a video. Again, it was...
It was created for an architecture, and always is very important where it's built on, because it's very important the space out of the piece.
Yeah, water dialogues with the space. So that's why it was so nice that we got the cathedral, because again, more information in the building, more you connect to the place. And people do just about anything in this place. It's funny. We never ask people to do things, okay? They do because they want to. And here, like we said, yesterday was the day of the All Saints, and water here was inaugurated with the priests going over it, with all the dressing, the incenses and everything. This is in Russia. It was nice also because we were in a pavilion, St. Petersburg pavilion.
And the ceiling was blue, Prussian blue.
Yeah.
That reflect the water like a lake.
And of course, totally different interaction. Yeah? We saw a video, there is a video on the YouTube somewhere that a ballet dancer was playing with the piece. So it's our works, they dialogue also with the culture. Thank you very much. That was
Thank
it.
you.